I want you, if you don't mind, I've been building them for my own personal and work reasons, and
Are you
I
using
would
the
love to hear.
OpenAI version of that?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would love to hear you talk about how you use it and how you
Yeah.
think about
So
it. And
your listeners are familiar with what a GPT is. We don't need to explain that, right?
No, I think
Okay.
most people know at this point. Yeah.
I'm sorry, I cut you off, Jeff.
no, that's fine. I mean, mostly I want to, and we have the freedom here to not get into the kind of tedious, uninformed
Bless
ethical
your heart.
issues. And
Thank
there
you
are
so
ethical
much.
issues,
Yeah.
right? But like, we don't have to
We
talk
don't-
about that. Let's
right.
just talk about what we're doing with it and
I
assume we're all adults
kidnapped
here.
a kid once.
Yeah. Just assume we're all adults here and we're going into it with open eyes.
So my
like we
only
do with
little bit of
everything.
prelude on this is to say that I've been pretty interested in this stuff since that whoever that YouTuber is, that English guy who just retired.
Tom
He
Scott.
did a YouTube. Yeah, that'd be him.
Yes.
He did a YouTube probably back year before.
It was last year.
I guess not at this point. You're so good. My God, you're encyclopedic.
Yeah.
She is
No,
a
it's,
Can I
font.
have
She
all
is
of your
a font
Dexedrine? I'll give you an
knowledge.
address.
she doesn't need a spreadsheet.
It's
And he had talked about just this thing that it just blew my mind, because I've been interested in things like this. I mean, when I had a Quadra 800, I would try to make it work by my talking to it, and of course, it didn't really work. And like I've been vaguely interested. I was thinking last night, as I was posting some stuff last night about this, and thinking about how the hours I spent in 1988, like making a moose talk on my Mac. Through Talking Moose.
amazing.
And like all this stuff where like, sound, this is an app that'll play sounds from David Letterman and like those kinds of things. And like, wow, I mean, like what a different place we are at now. All I want to say in terms of prelude to this is I'm really glad folks know what that is. And we won't have to explain or be weird about it. But part of my journey with ChatGPT and OpenAI stuff in particular is this constant yearning for more memory, in the sense of like, I want it to remember more about what I say. I want it to remember more about what I tell it, really. And that's been a journey. So like Threads got better at that over time, but still you start a new thread, no more memory. Then it got custom instructions, which has been mostly real good. And then when GPTs came along, of course, for somebody like me, this was practically made for how my brain works. Unfortunately, it's like so difficult to explain to people why I have a Google spreadsheet that covers the heights of celebrities.
Yeah.
It's like, how do I know that Elizabeth Debicki is 6'3"? Because it's in the doc. Okay, that's one example. A second example, and these are trivial, but I think useful to know. I came into this with my brain wired for, oh man, could I do something with this? And like you think about the things where like, think about what like life was like before Google. And then people, and then Google came along, and it was real good for a real long time. I read Paul's Google Hacks book. Like I know about Booleans, and I still use, or in all caps.
Yeah.
It's increasingly less useful. But the point is, you remember what it was like when you first went, oh, this is a blank page. You type it, it finds it. Oh. And that seemed like, for somebody who was even on the very good Alta Vista at the time, that was from another universe. All right. And I could instantly see the possibilities of having my own GPT. So one would be like a jokey stuff. I thought like it's a joke amongst my friends that I've got all these spreadsheets, right? And because it's true. Like every flashlight I've ever bought, I can tell you how many lumens, what it costs per lumen, and what kind of battery it has. I can tell you all my 3D filaments. I can tell you what the density is, what the color is, how much it costs, all that kind of stuff. Celebrities, right? That's another celebrity playlist. One I made a few years ago that I sent to my pal John Roderick was, I made this thing called, I made this spreadsheet where I said, here's the people, like a bunch of important people in my family, including the people who live in my house, my beloved, late mother-in-law, father, all those things. And for each one of those, I did the most basic thing, which is I just entered in the day that they were born. And then using just a few easy formulas, I was able to just quickly calculate like, this many days and blah, blah, blah. Then I made like a manual version of a pivot table where I said, how old, I was able to finally say stuff like, how old was Grandma Steinus on this day? What, and so
cool.
on and so forth. And I'm just going to, is it okay to send something in this chat? Is that going to be?
Yeah, please.
Like, here's an example of like that in action. So this is where I have gone in. So in that instance, I took those spreadsheets, turned it into a CSV, and I think I am doing this poorly. I don't know how to add an image. I took the CSV. Do I just drag it in here? How do I get in this window? Can I copy and paste?
Anything in there?
I don't know.
We've never added an image.
We've never added an image.
Okay, sorry, that's not going to be as fun. But like I entered all that in, and then I put it into a GPT, a new GPT, and I explained what it is that I want to do. And so, but I'm able to do things like say, and so Grandma Steinus, that's my beloved mother-in-law, my son's grandmother, and I can say things like, "What was a popular song on the charts the year that Billy turned 5?"
That's so cool.
That's great.
Why would you want that? Well, I find out that somebody that I used to know by gotcha was, well, I don't know how you say it, was popular then, featuring Kimbra, whatever that is.
Yes.
Ooh.
What was a popular song the year my late mother-in-law turned 30? Mac the Knife by Bobby Darin.
Wow.
On what date was my late mother-in-law the same age that my kid is now? December 14th, 1945. Okay. If that's not interesting to you, that's okay. I hope somebody out there will understand how interesting, and like sort of like we were talking about, Jeff, like now that's opening me up to this whole new world of stuff I could be doing with this, including that timeline thing. The app I've wanted since the 1990s is an app that lets me, because this thing I'm obsessed with, which is how many years it's been since this thing is the same amount of years since that thing.
Yes. Oh my God, I do that calculation all the time.
Yeah, like the time since
Mind-bending.
synchronicity. The time since synchronicity is like the time since like the first Duke Ellington record to then.
Yes.
Like I wish there was just an easy way to do that. That is in my grasp now. I'm not sure that would be incredibly useful, but guess what? I learn a lot from doing this, and I can apply it to other things. So my interest in this started with just extending the weird stuff where I could use. I feel like I would benefit from technology. And again, I know we're not talking about scare stuff, but so far we're not talking anything about nuclear missiles being launched.
Nope.
We're not talking about weird decision making. We're not talking about plagiarism. And despite the people who love to yell at me on Mastodon about how it doesn't really understand math, it's just saying words, and it's like, yeah,
yes,
but like the rest of the internet doesn't understand anything either, and I keep using that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, especially when it comes to, I think I said this on Mastodon a few weeks ago, was like, if you have the $20 boy account on this, and you're not using this to make constant, low stakes, trivial, fun things. The serious point is you're kind of missing out on something that's probably going to be good for you to know in general, especially in the future. But also you're just missing out on a lot of fun, because if it gets that date of when Mac the Knife came out, like it's going to be okay. Right? It's going to be, but like the thing is, I like projects, and I like treating life as an experiment. I like treating things in life as an experiment, and I like those things accreting and building on themselves. One reason I love this 3D printer I'm pointing at is like the more I learn about my 3D printer, the more I'm able to do, which leads me to learn more. It's kind of a lot like what they used to call education, which is you learn enough to know what you need to learn next.
Yes.
And eventually
you go down these rabbit holes of,
Yep.